Hi, I'm Silas from Integral Works. Welcome to the second part of our webinar re-recording. So if you haven't seen the first part, I recommend you to check it out so this makes sense to you. And in this video, I want to talk about finding discrepancy with the help of our models. So what is discrepancy? Discrepancy is the difference between the higher and the lower developed lines. So as you see in our models, we have all sorts of lines that organizations in this case develop through, and that they actually contain within themselves. And so the difference between those lines is where problems arise, because there is one part of the organization that can be internal or external, it can be in the team or in the individual, that is higher developed than another one, and so functions on a completely different base of operations. So it's something that is very common. And for example, I'm going to make a quick example. One that we encounter a lot or it's almost always the case in organizations, is they try these new things. They try these new self-governing principles or self-organizing principles. So this comes from teal actually. So part of the organization is already on teal, but then when you look at how they pay their employees, so their salary system, that's usually still on orange. And it's very rare that they're both growing together, because when it comes to money, then there's fear involved, which hinders that growth. And so that would be one of the first issues that we would point out. And this can be very easily done with our model, because we have salary system and organizational system on there, and it's actually very clear to see where the discrepancy lies. So what we're going to do here is that Kai and I will stage a situation where a supervisor or leading person comes to a consulting person and presents them with a problem. And so this is something that happens very often. And the consulting person, which will be played by me, will use the models to try and find the discrepancy that is causing the problem. So without further ado, let's jump in.
I already told you on the phone our case. To bring it briefly again, we introduced this new management method 1 year ago. Agile, you're aware of it, I guess. And what we see is that in the teams it works sometimes very well, and in some teams it just does not work at all.
Okay.
There is resistance. There is even it feels a bit like sabotage, I would say, from my perspective.
Okay.
And this is not cool, because I'm really convinced of this method.
Yeah.
So can you bring some light in why this is the case?
Well, I can try. So I guess that you already have the solutions, you just don't know where to look for them. So I can help you with that.
Okay.
So you have different teams, and in some teams it works, in some it doesn't, you said.
Yes.
So we can guess that there's a difference between these teams that you're not seeing.
Okay.
And my first guess would be that it's on the internal of the team members actually. Okay? So the structures are maybe all the same, but how these people function is completely different. All right? So my first question to you would be, what do you think your teams want from their workplace, or what do the people need from you and from the company?
It's a very wide question.
I know.
Do you have examples for, like, I don't know, I mean...
So start with the team where it works well.
Yeah. I would call them a bit monkeys. They're creative, jumping around, having fun, and this is, I think, the most important for them.
Okay, so a certain freedom.
A certain freedom and a certain really like expressing what they want.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So on our model here, when we look at the needs, development of needs,
Yeah.
that would be either green or going into teal.
Okay.
So that is the development of needs where they are at.
Okay.
And since your management system Agile comes from green,
Yeah.
it makes sense that they don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
That they're embracing it.
Yeah. Okay.
So tell me about one of the teams where it doesn't work. What would you say do they need from you?
Well, there are two clear teams in front of me. The one is they are like a bit these, they would come like me in the suit every day, and they want to make business. And for them it's like, all this leisure stand-up meetings and so on. I mean, I do it if you want to, but I'm not really convinced.
Okay.
This is one of them. Even though they do it, they're still like, hey, okay.
But because you say they have to.
A bit like this.
Okay.
And the other team is more like they just don't get it. It's like it's I don't know how to explain it. They're like really there's a resistance. They're like, hey, what is that?
But let me get back to the question. What does this team or these people, what do they need from you aside from your system?
The first team, the business guys, they want to make business. They want to sell. They want to they want to feel good about. If they make numbers, they feel good.
Success.
Yeah, success would fit, I think.
Very good. That is our stage orange here.
Okay, so you can put them all in a little box.
Pretty much.
Okay. Okay. Good.
How about the third team?
The third team is how you say it's a bit they're a bit stiff. They want to know what they are about, what it's about. Like they clearly want to. Actually, you have to tell them what to do. Mm-hmm. Then they do a very well job. Yeah. If you give them too much freedom and creativity, they're like they're getting complaining. They start to complain.
So they need structure.
I think if they're structured, they can really do a very well job.
Okay.
I don't want to complain about them. It's just like my management methods are not working.
Yeah.
This is pretty annoying.
Well, but that actually makes sense as well, because what you're describing is the stage amber, where the most important things that I need from my company is a place where I belong.
Yeah.
I need safety, and I need to have a clear, structured job. So when I come in the office in the morning, I want to know what my next step is.
Okay.
I don't want to guess, and I don't want to decide for myself.
But if you say that they are in these colors, and you have the management, that would basically mean I would need to apply 3 different management methods?
That would basically mean that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and those I would find here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. But what is even more important is when you know what your teams or your employees need from you, you can address that. Mm-hmm. Okay, because the resistance that you described in the beginning is because they are afraid, because their needs are not met. And if their needs are not met, they react with resistance because they're afraid. So if you can get to them on a personal level there, you can actually maybe even pull them up a little bit.
So if I'm rushing them, it's actually pretty unfair.
It is.
Okay.
It's also unfair if you just assume that they want the freedom that your system gives, because they don't want that.
Okay. That makes sense.
So I would say in the next meeting we will get more concrete. But I think for now this is good enough.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Very cool. Okay, so of course this was a very simplified version of how such a situation would play out. And in a real situation, you would try to assess many more lines. You would try to find many more of these discrepancies and try to amend them. But the principle is still the same. You assess lines, and this can be done with either one person representing the organization or with the employees themselves. You find those discrepancies that cause the most problems, and then you try to work on them. This is where a coaching or a training would come into play, or even workshops with the entire team or organization. So that's how we find discrepancies and work with them. Now I want to point out that in the end of the video there's something that we missed when actually Kai asks me, okay, so I would have to employ 3 different management systems in my organization. And yes, that is true, but actually that would just be an integral management system, because an integral management system takes the growth, the development of their employees into account and imposes the fitting system that will, first of all, they will understand it, they can work with it, it's on their altitude, and second of all, it will actually grow them, it will help them develop. That's what an integral management system would look like. Okay, so that was it for the second part. We meet again in the third part, where we will show how a conflict can be solved and not only solve, but actually you can take the value of development out of it. See you then. Bye bye.